I am a soul blazer. I change lives, I touch people's souls, and I open them up. I teach people how to be present and to be in their authentic soul. Do you guys know what imposters are? These untrained imposters, they reside on the stage of our brain, and they're trying to control us. But usually what happens is they make things worse. But the good news is that we can control them. We could take over and we could teach them to work for us instead of against us. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today. It's such an honor to be here. And I love these live masterminds and bringing in special guests that I think share so much from their heart, especially my guest today, who is Sujon Datta. He's been a friend for about 15 years. We don't talk every day, but we're connected by the heart. And today we wanted to talk about love and what is love. And he's a perfect person to do that with because he's from the lineage of Paramahansa Yogananda. And if you don't know who Paramahansa Yogananda is, he was an Indian monk and a guru. He was one of the earliest spiritual gurus who introduced meditation and yoga to the Western world. And his book, Autobiography of a Yogi, was my mom's favorite book of all time. She read it and read it again. And you have to read this. I'm like, Mom, I'm like 18. Who's this weird person? You know, I just want to go out and party or do whatever, be with my friends, which is like, no, this book will change your life. So it sold millions of copies and it still sells a lot today, right, Sujon?
It does. It's a perennial bestseller since the 1940s, actually, 47, I want to say. Yeah. So.
And he's been dubbed the 20th century superstar guru. And Sujon, I met at a audition like 15 years ago. And we were
even longer now. I don't remember. Yeah, it's been a long time, Lisa.
Yeah. So why don't you share a little bit about Paramahansa Yogananda and how it affected you and about, you know, what love is and how we could handle what's going on in the world today through some of Paramahansa Yogananda's teachings and what you've gathered from that and what you do today.
Sure. I mean, I'll start off with Yogananda. He's my great-granduncle. Basically, his eldest sister, Roma, was my great-grandmother. And Yogananda's presence in my life has been throughout the first day. It's on my father's side. And so, you know, being brought up in the Western world, if you will, I was born in Canada, Toronto. It was such an experience because you're not really in the midst of the Indian culture, if you will, but my parents were very, they were great about sharing the Indian cultures and, of course, about Paramahansa Yogananda. So he's been part of me for all my life. And then I got into meditation around 13 with another guru, and it all, amazingly enough, they were all connected. But with Yogananda, he came in 1920 on a boat, and I'm not going to go through the whole story, but he essentially brought Self-Realization Fellowship in Los Angeles in 1920 and introduced meditation and yoga, Kriya Yoga particularly. And he's affected millions of lives throughout the world.
Share a little bit about what Kriya Yoga is. I don't think a lot of people know.
Well, Kriya Yoga is basically, it's more about breath. It's about pranayama. It's about doing certain sequences that really help bring the energy from your kundalini, the core, at the base of your spine, all the way up to your crown. So there's a bunch of techniques that Self-Realization Fellowship share. And so basically, when you participate in these lessons, if you will, it's supposed to help, not supposed to, it does help you really raise your consciousness, your vibration, and bring out of stillness.
Yeah, let's bring this back to the layman, because a lot of this might be going over some people's heads. I just saw
Sure.
a comment by Joanne saying that she loves yoga. So yeah, yoga is what you're really talking about. She said, I love doing yoga, it makes my mind at peace. Yes. And why does that make our mind at peace? And when I started doing yoga, it was so hard because I was going, oh, this is so silly and all these weird poses. And how does this really help? And, it's
Yes.
really hard. It seems like it's easy, but it's hard. So, but once I got into it, I started feeling all these internal changes. And Paramahansa Yogananda says in his book that the poet is intimate with the truth. And I think when you do yoga, you become intimate with your truth. What happens is for me at least, and from the people I've worked with and all my clients, they say that it helps connect you to your authentic soul. And as you know, I wrote the book SoulBlazing, and it's about your imposters, which are your personalities that were
Yeah.
created through all your stuff that happened to you since childhood. It's like scars, and then you wear a mask. Your imposters protect you from ever
Yes.
getting hurt. But if you don't get hurt, you don't grow. So yoga and what you teach is about getting in touch with your authentic soul so you can make the right decisions and be your intimate poet that knows how to do life in a beautiful, calm way without getting so stressed and reactive about everything. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think yoga is, it means union. If you were to translate the Sanskrit word, it means union. And I think today in our Western world, I think we're going deeper into what yoga is and what it means. It's not just the poses. There's 8 limbs to it, and Yogananda talks about that as well. And what we're trying to get to is, I refer to going back home, remembering who you are truly, the essence. And soul blazing, the soul. It's all about our soul, the thing that we can't see. It's
Yeah.
not the physical shell of our daily existence, our mental, physical self. There's something deep inside us, which to me carries love. The force that's within us, what created us, is from love. And it's synonymous to me. Uh, this life force is God, if you want, or whoever uh, that you believe is God or some higher power. So
Yeah. So
what we're
yeah, look at what Hara Bloom just said. She loves yoga. It helps her mentally and physically. So
yes. So with the 8 limbs, that what I was going to get to is that what we're trying to do is not only allow our bodies to relax, but our mind to relax through breath work, and then having deep focused concentration into a level of meditation where you start to unravel all the stuff that is in your mind that's getting in the way to the access to your heart and soul. So yoga, in a way, has a complete package when you go through the 8 limbs, and it doesn't have to be like you got to follow a step. It's like picking and choosing as your process is being unveiled to you, and it's in the silence, I believe, is where our truth is, because we have so many distractions, right, Lisa? We have, the day-to-day living, and of course, social media and bills to pay and work and children, etc. So when you take the moment to really apply the yogic principles, if you
yeah,
will, of silence, calm, and I think in today's world we're expanding how to become silent. Meditation doesn't just have to be you lighting an incense stick and sitting in a lotus pose. You can go into nature. You can go into the ocean or a body of water and just find that space and peace to just witness what
yeah,
is happening within you and within your mind and your body. We're so focused on mind body. It's actually mind body soul.
yes,
So what's great about the fact that you have a book called Soul Blazing, it's a reminder that what we truly are is not these circumstances and being in this body, and we treat the CEO, I say, we treat the mind as the CEO, but the CEO is our soul.
Yes.
Our mind is the COO. It's supposed to help with the love that we are,
Yes.
that we are, come through us, and to gift that to the world. And as we do that, there's an exchange that happens automatically. We don't need to expect that what I give to you, I'll receive back. It just happens automatically. And that's what I feel we're here to do, is to serve.
Oh,
And
absolutely. And when what you're talking about right now is being something Paramahansa Yogananda says is being as simple as you can, because you'll be astonished to see how uncomplicated and happy your life can become when you get rid of the distractions, because we're always going to have the bills to pay, all the distractions in life. But if you
yes,
take it all on and go, oh my God, I'm so stressed, I've got to do this and I've got to do that, you're not working from a place of calm. It's just like driving. If you're driving white knuckled, oh, I got to get there, you could get into an accident. But if you just let go and go, it is what it is, and put an intention, I will get there at this time, or if I don't, everything, life will still flow. You will save yourself a lot of stress, possible accidents, and injuring yourself or someone else, and just peace of mind.
that's
And
right.
you could stay in the state of yoga, not just while you're practicing, but living it daily, of looking at everything that's going on. And I want to address some of these people, these LinkedIn, this is a LinkedIn user. Many
Okay.
people find that yoga helps you to improve their lives, in different aspects. And, yes, a lot of aspects. Did you want to talk on that?
Well, in my work as a healer myself, in my life, there's so many life coaches and whatnot. We get confused on what the purpose of this being is in front of you, who's trying to serve you. And I call myself a life architect, a bioenergetic healer, um, a spiritual advisor. So I kind of combine all that. And there's so many tools now available, more than ever, to really get to a space of calm. And what will the calm do? We're all highly stressed, distracted. We are trying to follow other people's recipe. And sometimes we find ourselves so far away from who we truly are that we feel dispassionate. We feel almost lifeless, and we're just on this hamster wheel. So, the tools are, it's really about a quest, asking the right questions. When somebody works with me, what I do is find out what's the problem, what's the block associated with the problem, and then where is it that you want to be? Because most people are living in a gap between where they are and where they want to be. And to kind of go back to what you were saying, we need to detach to whatever it is that we want to create. And I
But
think
how do
that's
you
what,
do that? So how do you actually detach? Like, maybe give me, from being part of his lineage, who were you before and who were you after you learned about your lineage? And like, what are 3 simple steps that you did that made a huge difference in your life?
sure. Well, first of all, it was to understand that I have a problem, and
Good. That's
why am I feeling the way I'm feeling, um, and what thoughts are associated with those feelings, because I think we skip that step because we're just all about our feelings and we get stuck. So it's asking questions about like that, understanding what my values are. What is it that I want to create and experience? Because life is about expanding, experiencing, and expressing our authentic self. And then, you know, there's several ways. If you were to come to me, I would help with energy healing, raising the vibration,
can
raising the
you
consciousness, raising your thoughts by understanding what it is that you need to affirm,
can you tell
visualize.
me one issue you had and how using these principles helped you?
Well, relationships are a big factor in our lives, right? We all want to love and be loved, essentially. And a lot of my clients come to me because they're seeking relationship, or they're having problems with their significant other, etc. And so I'm a human being just like everybody else, and I've had issues in my relationships. So, it took me, first of all, detaching myself from the issue and not blaming somebody else for my issues. That was the first thing I had to do. So I looked at reevaluate what it was that I want to experience, which is attached to my values, my intentions for life. I call it vivid imagination, VIVID. So values, intention, visions, identity, destiny. So I need to identify who I am and what I want to experience. That's the vivid imagination. So that was the starting point. And then once I did that, I started to communicate with my partner. These are the things that I want. Are we on the same page?
Right.
Or if we're not on the same page, can we make adjustments to the way that we're behaving, the way we're thinking, what we're believing in order to make this work? And then the daily practice for me was to really visualize that we are in a beautiful union, that we are getting along, that we are expanding and growing, and releasing those circumstances that are troubling.
Yes.
So that's
Absolutely.
and those are three. There's many more steps, Lisa, but if you were to ask three, those are the big ones I feel that helps us. It's really about honoring ourselves.
Yeah, and I remember what Paramahansa said in his book, that you alone are responsible for your thoughts and you alone can change them. So why not change them? I have this exercise I do in SoulBlazing. It's called a mind dump, where you set the alarm to 2 minutes and you just, close your eyes and just scribble really fast everything that's in your head. And then whatever it is, you give a name, a person who gave you that thought, like, oh, you're not lovable, or you're dumb, or you're not good enough, you're whatever it is. Who gave, did my mom, did my dad, did a teacher, did a friend, did a bully, did a aunt, who gave you that? Where did that come from? And then change it to a positive declaration and start saying that. So when someone says like, who are you? Oh, I am lovable, whatever the thing was. Then once you start using it in your daily conversations and telling a few people in your life who love you, will you use this? Say this to me, just in conversation. Then you start changing and shifting, and it takes time depending on how deep those wounds are. But your thoughts are everything, because it makes you takes you to your actions, your beliefs. Everything comes from thought. So if you change that, your whole life will change. And I thought he was brilliant of bringing that into our consciousness.
Yeah, I mean, he was a trendsetter or trailblazer. He was giving us information well ahead of what in the 1920s, 30s, 40s. This is the stuff we're still talking about.
Oh yeah, about living in the now. I think he was the one talking about that, saying the past to me is like a past life. It didn't even happen. It's a memory. It's a dream. Because all we have is right now. I've traveled to over 60 countries, and sometimes I go, did I? Oh, your photo albums. Oh, wow. I guess, so recall from a past life. And you don't have your future because it's so far away, it's beyond our reach. We don't know what's going to happen in 30 minutes.
No.
So all we have is now. And if you make this extraordinary, this minute with you, I'm so honored, and I feel so good to be here with you. And I'm honored to be your friend, and all of our great juicy conversations that go so deep. So I'd love for people to learn more about you so they could learn what I know about you and all your wonderful teachings that I've learned from. And I'd love for you to share like one issue you've had, like in childhood or just recently, and then how you use your principles to overcome it. Just one issue and your principles.
Well, one of the things that I've been, currently I'm penning my book called Love More. And, you get into a space where you feel that you're not good enough in writing this book. Some may call it the Imposter Syndrome. I've heard of that. And I've been doing this for 20 plus years. I've been meditating since I was 13. So over 40 years of meditating and applying these principles. But here's the thing that I found is that we're going deeper and deeper and deeper, and going deeper on the internal. Our outside circumstances and expressions and experience, our outer world, is really about what's going on inside you. So if you're finding that the outer world is not working for whatever reason, you have to go inside and change those things. Like you said, thoughts are what matter. And in this land of duality, there's spectrums, by the way. It's not just all black and white. It's not good, bad, dark, light. There's a spectrum, and we fit somewhere in that spectrum. And in order for us to really become enlightened, we have to accept the flaws, the darkness. They contrast, because if it was all light, all you would see is light and you wouldn't really see anything. And if it's all dark, you can't see anything. So it's really about acceptance. And so for me, I had to accept that I am doing what I'm doing for not only my betterment, but for the people that I am here to serve. Mm-hmm. So it took me to really go back to what I, every client that I see, I ask them, list 15 things that you love about yourself. And then when you list it, rate them. Are you a 10 out of 10 on being creative? Are you a 10 out of 10 being compassionate? Whatever those traits are. And if you're not, you have to ask yourself why.
Yes, I love that.
So I went through that process, and then I actually go back to the vivid imagination. What's the vision? What is my intention here? And based on the values that I want to experience, what matters to me? That's what values are. What really, really matters to me? Intention is, why does it matter? So I went through that process, and you have to really affirm your identity. I am good enough. I have helped thousands of people in my career. I do have something to say that matters. So it's going through the blocks, if you will. What is causing you to think that way? In the land of cause and effect, thoughts, repeated become habits and beliefs, and those beliefs trigger your behaviors and your emotions, energy and motion, and the actions that create the effect. So if the effect is not happening, you have to your point, go back to the thought. So that's what I had to do, is ask myself, why am I writing this book? And for me, it's to help people understand that love is the most powerful ingredient in our life. It is who we are. What is
love, Sujon?
Well, it's indescribable. Love is perceived by the person that finally finds it in them, and they can describe it any which way. I mean, I think there's 7.8 billion people on our planet. There's 7.8 billion people who have a definition. It's understanding that love is what we were created by, and love is the energy that sits within us that is to be expressed. And when we get out of the way from our mind, we can truly emanate this frequency, this high vibrational frequency that David Hawkins talks about in the map of consciousness, where anger and shame and fear is in the lower tier of consciousness, and enlightenment, joy, and love is in the higher. To me, love is about being loving. That's what Love More is about. The book Love More is about helping people understand what their definition of love is, and that love is an action word. It's a verb. It's about being conscious in your every step, and knowing that love is starts with you. We talk about self-love, and most people don't know what that means. But so I help people understand, well, self-love is self-care, yes, self-compassion,
yes,
self-honoring, self-respect.
About being completely dedicated or deeply committed to someone or something. So like when you're talking about your book about, your imposters came out, your imposter syndrome, I'm not good enough, or who am I to write this, or what am I doing? Am I strong enough writer, or who cares? There's so many books about this. You have to go, no, this isn't about any of that. You're not comparing yourself to anyone else. You're loving what is, you're loving in the moment, you're loving writing about love. because you know your perspective is different. Like you said, there's billions of people on the planet.
Yes.
Everyone is different. So you do have a unique perspective to share that is valuable. And
Yeah. And love is not a process or logic of the mind.
yes.
It's not, when we say masculine and feminine energy, uh, I don't know if your audience knows, we all have masculine and feminine energies within us. And some are higher than others, more masculine versus feminine. And if you really look at what the masculine is, it's about logic, it's about action, it's about getting things done. Whereas the feminine energies are more about being nurturing, you know, being compassionate, kind. And I think in this patriarchal world that we live in, I think it's time for each one of us, regardless of gender, to amp up the feminine energy of nurturing and loving and sharing and being compassionate and kind. That's what love is really about.
Yeah, and I've
Yeah.
worked in prisons, I've worked in foster homes, and worked with a lot of people all over who are going through so many challenging times and have lost loved ones, like in war and different things that are happening. They just say, oh, I don't have love anymore, and love is bullshit, and fuck love,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
love is painful sometimes. But I think love never dies a natural death. What happens is if we don't replenish its source, if we let it die through betrayals and negativity, or even if you don't know someone, what someone else did, when you trust, like even just in the universe, and you feel the universe or God lets you down. How could my mother die at this age, or how can I lose my husband, or how my child, whatever it is, got cancer? You start going, what is love? I don't even care. And that's when suicide rates are higher, because I think if you don't harness love, if you don't embody love, life is really not worth anything. You could have all the money in the world, you could have all your toys, but if you don't have at least one person you love and who loves you, that really sees you, like gets you, life is empty and vapid. And so
Right.
many people are chasing money and chasing things.
Right.
And it's like, slow down. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Who do you love? Who is loving you? Going out is not wasting time. Having friends over, having gatherings, connecting. I just read this article that said the people who live the longest, what are the things? And you think, oh, a healthy diet and exercise and going to the annual doctor. And the number one thing was friendships. The second thing was having a few close people that really see you. And the number one thing was having an array of people, even if it's your grocer, your postman, people that you see, just to, hi, how are you? And connect a little bit. Because if you're not connecting to the essence of other people that now, that you see regularly, something, you lose something.
Right. And I think people, when they get into those modes of high stress and feeling not good enough or feeling unlovable, it's because that's what they think.
Yes.
The reality is, love is everything that we see, everything that we sense, because that's the force that is actually embedded in us. What we're doing is clearing away the mud, clearing away the stuff that's getting in the way of being loving.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And so I feel like people miss out on that point because we isolate so quickly because we feel ashamed about whatever flaw we happen to perceive. But we're so much more beyond our flaws. And unless we begin to look at why do it starts with you. I mean, it's great to have partnerships for sure, but you have to honor you. You have to know what love means to you. You have to know what your capacity of love means so that when you do attract friends and relationships and intimate relationships, you can actually express to that person or a group of people, this is what I need, or what I choose to share with you is this authentic self that's in my soul, my heart.
Yes.
Most people are following other people's leads, and when they get or beliefs or whatever, they're feeling like they're missing out because they're not following some certain recipe.
Oh,
But you have to
absolutely. They
go
forget that we're,
inside and
yes.
track and find what it means to you to be authentic, what it means for you to be totally joyful, where joy is something that is of the heart and mind. I mean, heart and soul. Whereas happiness is like fulfilling the goals. It's the mental. Happiness is mental. Joy is from the heart, where you're looking at a beautiful
Yeah.
sunrise or a sunset or walking in nature and not even labeling a thing. You don't need anything. There's no attachment to anything. And that's the power that I'm trying to help people understand, that love can generate. It's in the moment. It's not something that's happening in the future. It's not from the past. You can't relive the loving moments from the past, but you certainly can be loving and expand your capacity to love through taking care of yourself and understanding who you are at the core. And at the core, we're divine beings.
Yes.
The off
We're
quote,
spiritual beings having a human experience.
that's right.
So whatever you've done, whatever negativity, whatever shame or guilt you have, get rid of it, because it's a past life. You're starting fresh today. You're starting fresh. We're here to make mistakes. We're here to go through struggles and turmoil, because that's what helps evolve your soul.
Yeah. And I also say, look, if you really want to be loved, you have to be loving. If you want compassion, you have to be compassionate. You need to raise your consciousness, your vibration, your understanding that if we are that divine being that is formless and changeless, then you must understand what that means to you.
Yes.
And so you have to become what it is that you want to attract. And right now, our world is full of judgment, and fear. So who am I if I judge somebody else, what do you think I'm doing? It's boomerangs back to me. I'm judging myself, really. So why not shift those thoughts to something more powerful, more potent? How can I be? Here's my question. This is what I will be using in Love More when it comes out, is how can I bring more love to this situation? Like, get yourself off the problem. How can I bring more love? And so what does love mean to you? That's the journey that I'm going to take people on, is that you got to understand what it is that you really want to create. What do you want to experience? And if it's not happening, it's all on you. You have to take full responsibility to make the changes. Change your thoughts, changes your life, right? And so I think that's very important. And again, Love More is about, it starts with you. I call it act with facts.
Yes.
And it's important. This acronym that I have is important because it's kind of like a framework. A stands for, awareness, to really be aware of what it is, of who you are, where it's sourced from, the divine self that leads into the self, that leads into the relationships, the love that flows out to the world. You have to become aware of that, and you have to be committed to that.
Yes.
And when you commit to that, the truth, your truth with a small t, really, your perception is unveiled.
Yes.
And through the process, you need to forgive and accept yourself. The F stands for forgiveness. We have a hard time forgiving, first of all, ourselves, and we're so strict with ourselves that we do the same thing with others that have hurt us. So we carry that forever. That's the quickest way to find your love.
Yeah.
And then, A is acceptance, which I said. C is compassion. When are you going to give yourself a break? Why do you have to be such a perfectionist, maybe? Why can't you forgive yourself? Right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's crucial to have compassion.
Yes.
And what does that mean to you?
Yes.
How can you be more kind to yourself? And then the T is trust, trusting in something beyond you, the power that's greater than you. It's so necessary. And that's why we do these different practices, meditation, calming the mind down, going for a nature walk, listening to your favorite music, can totally shake you up.
Yes.
But
well, thank you so much, Sujon. This is also insightful. Our time ran out, but
okay.
This has been wonderful. And maybe ending it with a quote from Paramahansa Yogananda, that you'll find that you are carrying within your heart a portable paradise. Yes. Do you remember him saying that?
Yes, I do.
Did you want to say a little something about that before we close?
Well, to
What's
me,
the portable paradise inside our
portable
heart?
paradise is acknowledging that all that you need to be joyful sits within you.
Yeah.
Because it is connected to the higher realms, the divine, the creator. The creator created us to create. What are you creating? So that portable paradise, it's not you don't have to go away to some mountaintop to receive that joy. It sits right within you.
Yes.
And I think that's what he is referring to.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. And John, I just saw that comment from John. Can you put the comment back on from John? I think we lost it. Okay. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. The topic is very timely, especially when everyone has gone through it. It helps us to restore and understand our body, mind, emotions, and soul. Yes, that is so true. If you do these simple things of really being conscious of your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors, and knowing that all we have is the now. Whatever mistakes you've done in the past is in the past, and the future doesn't exist yet. You get to create the future based on what you put in your head today with your thoughts. Then everything will work out, and we all die at the end of the day. And so just live as fully as you can and not worrying about anything but now. And this is our journey, our expression in these bodies that we came to carry our soul to have this experience. So thank you, Sujon.
Thank you. Yeah, well said. And one more point. To really get into your heart and soul, you have to be present in the now. I mean, the thoughts will follow your heart if you allow it. And that's what Love More is all about.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're such a joy. You are living your truth, and you are living your word. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate our friendship. And I appreciate you being here today, taking time out of your busy schedule to share.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Lisa, for having me on. And it's been such a great pleasure to share my thoughts with you, and of course your followers, your clients, etc. And I'm really honored, and thank you again for having me. Okay. And love more.
Yes. So until next time, blaze your life.
That's right. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm Lisa Haisha, creator of SoulBlazing. I hack how you can change the negative thoughts in your head that hold you back. I call them imposters. I introduce you to them, teach you how to befriend them, and co-create with them, releasing old negative narratives. As a keynote speaker at your next event, I'll help your team turn into master communicators with more camaraderie, which brings more efficiency and growth to your organization. So join me and make shift happen.